Hey guys, and welcome back to another Blender Tasty tutorial. Yes, today we're taking a look at how to make this face cloth type of deformation that you might have seen floating around the web. As always, I will be offering a free resource file with this project that you can find in the description below on my GUMROAD. As always, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel because it helps me out a lot and I can provide even more of these tutorials for you guys. In any case, let's get into it. So I'm in Blender 2.93. You will see all of the shortcuts in the bottom left corner. And as you might have seen, I already have a head inside. This is a pre-made OBJ that you can also download in the free resource file with this project. We will be using this little dude for today's purposes. We want an object to hit this face and then return to its normal position. So how do we do that? Well, we'll be using cloth simulation for that. So in order to make our cloth simulation function properly, we'll first start off by going into edit mode and we'll just select these bottom loops in this one. If you have a different head model or if you've modeled a head model after yourself, make sure you just pin the groups that are on the bottom here. So I'm going to add a vertex group and then assign, meaning we have now a group with those vertices. So we can start working on our cloth. So let me go under my physics properties and add a cloth. Now, if I play the simulation, you can see the cloth just straight up falls down. We don't want that. We want it to remain in the same place, but still have the properties of cloth. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go under shape, pin group, select the group that we've created, and then collisions, self-collisions, and drop the distance down to 0.001, around there. Let's press play, and you can see that now it's falling down and it's pinned on that group. It's still intersecting. We can, let's say, raise the quality of the collisions, but it's not necessary. For now, I'm just going to put it to 3, and that's going to be it. I'm also going to go down the field weights and just turn off the gravity. And now our head is perfectly still. So let's have our head be hit by an object. So I'm going to add a mesh UV sphere and I'll add it, let's say, to the right side, like so. I'm going to press I and select location, which means it has inset our location. Now I'm going to move, let's say, 50 frames forward, press GX, and then move the sphere to the left side. Press I, location, and now if we play it, we can see it's traveling from right to left. However, it's not intersecting with our head. That's because we need to put a collision on our sphere. So let's W to shade smooth, press play, and let's see what happens. Yep, hits our head and it deforms it. Everything is just clipping through itself. So this is what it looks like. We can fine tune the position. Let's say we can move it a bit more forward. Let's say like that. Location. And then we can move like that. So it's going to go like in sort of a diagonal position, something like so. So if your animation starts to do this, acting weird, that's usually either a bug or a glitch in Blender. So what you need to do is just slightly slide one of these settings so you reset the actual simulation, and that's it. Okay, so let's say we go into our front view by pressing numpad 1, and now we want the head to return into the initial position from this point on. A lot of you might have seen the pressure setting, but the pressure setting is not going to help us in this case. It's actually going to be the internal springs. So I'm going to return to the start, and in order for you to see what the internal springs do, I'm just going to turn them on and let's observe. So you can see that the object becomes rigid. We have to keyframe some stuff. So you cannot turn off or turn on the internal springs and keyframe that, but you can keyframe the tension and compression. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we want to turn down the tension to 0 and the compression to 0, like so. And let's press play. It's returned to normal. Now, around frame, let's say 45 to 50, in my case, I'm going to set the tension keyframe to 0 and the compression to 0. I'm going to jump one frame ahead and I'm going to return them to 15 and the compression to 15 as well. You can also click the little dots on the side and that will also create the keyframe. So let's see if that works. So it hits the head and then kicks in, like so. The only problem and issue with this technique is that sometimes it can be a bit fidgety. It takes a bit to set it up correctly. It can depend on the collision of your object. It can depend on the tension of your object, the max tension. You can also drop it down. You can also work with the bending of the stiffness. So let's bump the bending to 2 and let's see what that does. So the object is less prone to bending and then it returns into its normal position again. We're going to also increase the quality steps of our animation, like so, meaning that the collisions are going to be calculated a bit better. Let's see what that does. So it hits our head in a satisfying manner, pumps it up again, like so, and returns into its initial position. However, this wobbliness in these warbles all over the place are usually because of the internal springs. So if we want to not use that, let's go. Let's find the optimum return position around here. So it's 120 actually, or 119. So I'm gonna press again on the little dots to inset the keyframes, jump 1 frame ahead, turn everything to 0 again, and keyframe that. And that is just going to let loose our internal springs. But if we set them to 0, you can notice that it does this weird deformation and it's not keeping its shape. So what I want to do is return to that keyframe and just bump the tension and the compression to 1. Click again on the dots to insert the new keyframes. And if we play it, it keeps a bit of the shape still, but it's not as obvious. All in all, when we have our final animation, let me turn off my sphere over here, it looks like this. We can also click on it and put a subdivision of 1 so we can see how it performs with a subdivision, so we have nice and smooth faces. And this is it. So I'm going to cut off the animation at 150 frames. So this is now the very important step of baking your animation. This is extremely important for rendering. Set the end to the end of your animation. In my case is 150, and let's just bake the animation. You do this because otherwise when you start rendering, sometimes you will have issues. Bake your animation from 1 to 150 or to the end of your own animation or timeline. And this is it. And this is how it returns and wobbles back. So yeah, this is going to be it for this tutorial. Hopefully you've learned something new, something useful. In the next part, I will be showing you how to texture this model and how to light it and prep it for rendering in Eevee. Make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel because it helps me out a lot. And don't forget, as always, there is a free resource file available on the GUMROAD link in the description below. In any case, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.